And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Welcome to Alaska Weather. I'm meteorologist Peter Chan, coming to you from the National Weather Service in Alaska region on this Friday, October 4th, 2024. And if you'd like additional weather information on top of what I give you in this YouTube video, you can go to weather.gov. It'll bring you to a map of the continental U.S. with Alaska and Hawaii to the lower left and tabs for the territories. If you point and click anywhere on this map, it'll give you a very specific forecast for anywhere in the nation, including any important and relevant watches, warnings, or advisories. And there's plenty of other things to explore on other tabs. But quick check of a look at what's going on here in the lower 48 of note on this Friday afternoon. We have frost advisories, northern Michigan, red flag warnings in the upper peninsula. And look at this broad area of red flag warnings over the northern plains and Rockies back into the interior west. We have a frontal system, largely dry, windy frontal system that's going to work its way across this region, creating critical fire weather conditions due to very warm temperatures, gusty winds, and low humidities. And of note, even come tomorrow, Chicago could have high temperatures up near 80 degrees ahead of this gusty cold front. It's not going to be a real strong front, but nevertheless, that's what's going on there in areas of California and the Southwest. Continue to have heat-related advisories or warnings. But here in Alaska, we have a number of advisories and warnings in effect. High wind warnings for the eastern Aleutians and Pribilof Islands, at least until this mid-evening. High surf advisory for St. Lawrence Island due to some brisk northeasterly winds on the backside of a strong Bering Sea low. And now wind advisory through the Alaska Range, and then it looks like there could be periods of moderate to locally heavy rain, eastern Kenai, Prince William Sound, all the way into along the Gulf Coast, into the Panhandle as we go through tonight and into Sunday. So up there along the coastline there, the northern coastline of St. Lawrence Island, Gamble reporting cloudy and breezy conditions, 43 degrees. That's where that high surf advisory is in effect. Dutch Harbor, high winds, rain and fog, 44 degrees. There have been some gusts of wind up around 75 to near 90 miles an hour, been some of the peak wind gusts around Dutch Harbor, especially in some of the higher terrain. There are some sensors. Isabel Pass also getting some gusty winds. There is a wind advisory there for that area of the Alaska Range into tomorrow. Temperature at 48 as of mid-afternoon. In Seward, rain and fog. The rain will be increasing for this Friday night, early Saturday morning. Be raining hard at times. Temperature there 41. So a quick check of the hazardous weather. We have along areas of the west coast gusty winds, strong offshore winds out of the northeast and north. That's why we have that high surf advisory there for St. Lawrence Island into late tomorrow evening. The Pribilof Islands, St. Paul down through the eastern Aleutians, high wind warnings will continue through at least mid-evening till 8 p.m. Possibly could be extended if they don't come down sooner. And as we go out toward the east here across the Gulf Coast, at this time there are no advisories, but we are going to see the strong low that's sitting out here over the southeast Bering Sea. It's going to slowly drift southeastern, and a secondary low will form and then move up into the Gulf as we go through later Sunday and early next week. That's going to provide the initial front, this occluded front that's currently working its way now along the Gulf Coast into the Panhandle, is going to have some gusty winds with it, along with some periods of moderate to heavy rain. And as I mentioned, up in the Alaska Range too, some gusty winds tonight into tomorrow as a result of southeast to south winds associated with this particular system. Now, a couple days ago, we had an X-class 7.1 flare and then followed by an X-class 9.1 flare. That energy is yet to hit. In fact, the X7 flare could hit at any moment, starting now when I'm recording or into this Friday night. The stronger one, the X9, though, is not expected to arrive until sometime later Saturday. So that would place Saturday night as the more likely time frame for a strong geomagnetic storm to occur. So there is the potential for active aurora displays here across areas of Alaska. If you have clear skies, most areas are going to be clouded out along the Gulf Coast, South Central, and in the Southwest and Aleutians. But keep your eyes peeled. We had new moon back on Wednesday, October 2nd, so the skies are good and dark. The other notable thing, Comet Sushinshan Atlas will be visible in the western sky after sunset late next week and next weekend, especially next weekend when the comet makes its closest approach to Earth. And I attempted to simulate what you might see with the comet being 71 million miles away. That's its closest approach to Earth on October 12th. So sunset Saturday evening around 8 p.m. The sun is about 9 degrees below the horizon at that point, so there would still be plenty of glow if skies are nice and clear. The comet head is only going to be 5-6 degrees above the horizon, so you have to have a good view of the western horizon. Can't be obscured by mountains or trees. And this would be the best likelihood for viewing the comet at its best brightness. So keep that in mind. I'll have some other details coming up later next week as this time frame approaches, but it could be one of those rare opportunities to view a comet that's visible to the unaided eye. Now, for what we're looking at out here across the Gulf Coast, got several things going on. You can see the curl in the clouds. This was a low that was bottomed out around 950 millibars yesterday afternoon and evening. It has moved eastward and will continue to slowly drift southeastward and fill as we go through the weekend. Secondary low taking shape down in this region. And we still have the front. Here is the frontal system associated with it, and even a bit of an atmospheric river pumping moisture up in and ahead of that from the North Pacific. So here's the weather map this Friday afternoon. Instead of 950, the low has come up to 960 millibars, but it's still producing some hurricane force wind gust over the eastern Aleutians, as high as 75 to near 90 miles an hour. A couple of reports out of area around Dutch Harbor this afternoon. And then the occluded front will also have a band of moderate to heavy rain that's going to be moving across the eastern Kenai Peninsula, including Seward up to Prince William Sound. And this whole front will then just kind of butt up along the Gulf coastline into the Panhandle here on Saturday. Meanwhile, areas of the interior still have some clearing. Not as clear as the past few days, but at least partly cloudy and mostly clear skies. So if you're north of the Alaska Range up toward Fairbanks, the Brooks Range, central eastern interior, you have a shot at maybe seeing the northern lights tonight and possibly there tomorrow night. But again, southern, western, southwest areas of the state clouded out because of this massive system, the circulation around it. By late tonight, early Saturday morning, that front is up along the Gulf Coast, pushing into the Panhandle. And by Saturday afternoon, the main low starts to fill back up to 973 millibars. Secondary low trying to take shape well south of the Alaska Peninsula and Kodiak Island. But it's going to bring a renewed surge of moisture heading northward that will come into the Panhandle on Sunday. So here we are come Sunday. We expect another round of moderate to locally heavy rain to push into the Panhandle Sunday afternoon and evening. And on the back side of the system further north, there still may be some partly cloudy to mostly clear skies in here along central eastern interior along the Alcan border. The backside of the system, brisk north-northwest winds continue across the Alaska Peninsula, southeastern, eastern Bering. And as a result, though, I think things will be a little quieter by the time we get in the middle of the week, as the secondary low will be sitting in the Gulf but not be quite as strong. So here is what we have for temperatures. Lows tonight above 40, low mid-40s Panhandle. Could still be down near a bit below freezing in the upper Copper River Basin, but with the cloud cover around, breezes holding up, temperatures upper 30s, low 40s for lows with some rain overspreading areas of south central, especially the Kenai Peninsula and along Prince William Sound. Saturday, temperatures 50 to 55 Panhandle. Same thing here for South Central, generally around or just above 50 most areas. Few of the coastal locations like Seward and Cordova, Valdez will only have highs upper 40s at best. Sunday morning lows generally again above freezing, with maybe the exception as you get north of the Copper River Basin up there toward Glen Allen northward. Otherwise low and mid 40s for the Panhandle, and temperatures again very similar. Low mid 50s Panhandle, near 50 for South Central. And looking at the interior, lows tonight, your normally cold spots will be down into the teens, 20s and below freezing common, with the exception along the Bering Strait, along the Seward Peninsula, Norton Sound, with the winds holding up. We'll see temperatures mid 30s for lows. And then Saturday afternoon, generally 40s for highs in the all up and down along the length of the Yukon River and Tanana River, maybe near 50 at Fairbanks. Mid-upper 30s Arctic coast down along the Chukchi Sea coastline, 40s. They are low mid-40s for the Seward Peninsula. Sunday morning lows again getting down into the teens along areas of the Brooks Range and down here, Yukon Flats, Alcan border. You could see if there's any clearing there around Northway. Tok could be dipping down into the teens, and if you have clear skies through the night. And then for Sunday afternoon, we're looking at temperatures maybe back near 50 at Fairbanks, but certainly cooler 30s throughout the Brooks North Slope, Arctic coast. We have readings mid-upper 30s along Shishmaref down toward Gamble, and Savunga only around 37, 38 for a high. For the southwest interior, temperatures stay above freezing with the exception of right near the Alaska range, near 40, Bethel down along, say, McCormick, and lower 40s down around 41, 42, say, Dutch Harbor to St. Paul. And Saturday afternoon highs back up near 50, Bethel, near 50, say, at McGrath, and down here through Dillingham, 51 there at Kodiak City. And lows Sunday morning still generally above freezing across much of the southwest coast and the interior. Lower mid-40s along the Aleutian chain, and temperatures Sunday afternoon 40s pretty common. A few spots may flirt with 50, but otherwise mid-upper 40s will be common for high temperatures. So looking ahead here toward almost mid-month of October, the 10th through the 14th. Not much has changed from past couple of days, the outlooks leading up to this time frame. Generally above normal temperatures possible and likely across the eastern mainland and Alcan border. Below normal temperatures along the west coast, especially the lower Yukon Delta, and in through areas of the Aleutians. Near normal temperatures in a strip there through the middle of the mainland, including areas around Cook Inlet, as well as the Panhandle. Precipitation is expected to be above normal over the southeast mainland and Panhandle especially, and this again just implies drier conditions here in the west, wetter in the southeast, implies a storm track, something like this, where you have feeds of moisture coming in up off the North Pacific into the Gulf. And so I would expect at times we continue to see these episodes of moderate to locally heavier precipitation pushing up into the Gulf and especially the Panhandle here as we approach the mid-month period.